I mean, looking at the game, they're clearly leaning into comic art in a way that's actually cool. Their design
This is very comic based. There's a few MCU like haha funny, like Loki for example says, "No, stay away from me" to Hulk or whatever, because like when he was getting thrown around, and they do have that like Hulk, throws you back and forth like he did to Loki in Avengers 1, I believe. Point is, they do have some stuff that references, but it is in no way based on it. But I do think they took some things from the MCU, like character designs, and were like, oh, that's cool. Let's add a little bit of that to the comic design. Like, for example, at least from the comics I've seen of Captain America, he looks more like Superman, where he's just like wearing cloth and like, he's very like, I'm in my, underwear kind of guy, like kind of like not very cool looking costume, but it kind of looks goofy. I think in the movies and in this game, they make him look actually cool. Like in this game though, he looks more like he has like he's very teched out, if you make it. Hey, what's up everybody? We're watching this video on Marvel Rivals / Overwatch. Apparently Blizzard is fucked up again for the 50th freaking time. Marvel Rivals has been dominating in the space. I've been enjoying the game. It's fun as hell, Killing everyone as Jeff the Menace.
We've all heard it said that hero shooters are a declining, oversaturated genre, and we know that there's a sizable graveyard. We just saw Concord die, but of course,
what? This is a bad take, but I actually thought that the kind like the acrobatics in Concord were kind of cool, even though the game is like booty. I thought like how like the way the characters moved was kind of cool, even though they looked a little nasty.
Saturated genre, and we know that there's a sizable graveyard. We just saw Concord die. But of course, that's an assessment that does not gel with Marvel Rivals' absolutely gigantic
oh my god, it's Bay
success. Because
Bay
somehow
2.
in a year where everybody has been mocking publishers over hero shooters and generally just mocking a lot of live service titles, Marvel Rivals is absolutely thriving, and that is not an
Wolverine, give me the ick though.
Statement. It got 10 million players in its first 72 hours, and by now, it's actually hit 20 million. This is so much activity that Steam's backend even struggled, and for some developers it broke. They were not able to access the Steam backend to update their stuff, and this was all timed with Marvel Rivals absolutely ramming Valve servers, and of course...
Oh, Overwatch had that issue. I was like, wait, when did Marvel Rivals have that?
servers were getting rammed by both Tencent and NetEase, because at the same time, Path of Exile 2 did happen to be doing quite well. So much so that together, Steam actually hit a new concurrency record of 39.2 million users online at once, which is crazy. But that's not what's truly noteworthy to me. A free-to-play game exploding and then just falling to pieces, or people quickly running away, a flash in the pan, that is not a surprise. It's actually what we tend to expect. And on the internet, when people tell you something is shocking, it's often hyperbole. Here, no, this is a shocking chart. This is the retention that we are seeing with Marvel Rivals, and this is genuinely impressive. It has essentially maintained its launch peak for an entire fortnight.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of people. A lot of people are thinking that that it's going to be like one of those where like it, sticks for a few weeks, like kind of like how. No, not Lethal Company, because I think people still play Lethal Company. It's the other one that a lot of people talk about. Content Warning, that's the one. Content Warning was like here, like really like pumping out a bunch of stuff. Like there was tons of videos. Everyone was playing it for like a week or two, and then just gone. No one ever played that game again. But then it's like Lethal Company, people still play that today, so people still talk about it. Like you don't see as many like clips, obviously, unless you're like, maybe if you're still playing the game like a lot, you probably do. But I still see people playing it in my Discord. I see people, talking about it. I see people still playing it on Steam and stuff. So I think Marvel Rivals is going to be more like Lethal in this case instead of Content Warning. And I think Deadlock right now has kind of been more like Content Warning, where not as many people are talking about it or playing it. Like everyone was like, oh my god, this game's so cool. But that might be just because it's an early access and Marvel Rivals is not. I liked Deadlock, but I just haven't seen as much retention for it. I wish there was a lot of things that would change. I think some of the bouncing and stuff. Besides that, both games are pretty good.
This is a vanishingly rare achievement. It is absolutely stunning. The daily lows for this game are resting at 180k. And, well, they're good, the highs are good and regular, and I kind of remember the words of our erstwhile Prime Minister Theresa May, strong and stable. It's rare for a new game to be that strong and stable, and if you're Blizzard, you're absolutely going to be feeling a sting.
This game,
so much so, you'll definitely need to check out today's sponsor. So what the hell's going on here? Marvel Rivals is a free-to-play just like Overwatch, but that's not really an even comparison because of price anchoring. Overwatch 1 was a paid game, and it was far less of a playable storefront than Overwatch 2 has ended up being, and that's what made Overwatch 2 sting. Of course, contrasted with all of the cool stuff that we were shown at BlizzCon that, of course, never ended up happening. With Rivals, well, it just has audience expectations being met. Everybody knows what to expect. I mean, for an extreme example, on this very channel, we caught a lot of flack for being harsh on the Delta Force microtransactions. To us, they were pretty damn bad microtransactions. That's why we criticized them pretty damn heavy in that video. But clearly, a lot of people didn't care at all, really. And I imagine it's because it was a free-to-play game, and it basically met their expectations. Here then, Rivals is made...
No, that's cap. People did care. You know why? Because I never heard of that game. No one's playing it, bro. Like, I play all kinds of games. No one's playing that game, bro. Maybe like 10 people.
By NetEase Games. They're a group who absolutely know how to retain players based on the countless large-scale free-to-play live service titles that they run, many of which are, of course, are on mobile, and, well, they have many investments in so many other games as well. Now, brand-wise, this has got Marvel, but it's got a flavor of Marvel that, at least from my outsider's perspective, doesn't seem tarnished by MCU fatigue. I mean, looking at the game, they're clearly leaning into comic art in a way that's actually cool. Their design...
This is very comic based. There's a few MCU like, haha, funny, like Loki, for example, says, no, stay away from me to Hulk or whatever. Cause you know, like when he was getting thrown around, and they do have that, like Hulk, you know, throws you back and forth like he did to Loki in Avengers 1, I believe. Point is, they do have some stuff that references, but it is in no way based on it. But I do think they took some things from the MCU, like character designs, and they're like, oh, that's cool. Let's add a little bit of that to the comic design. Like, for example, at least from the comics I've seen of Captain America, he looks more like Superman, where he's just like wearing cloth and like, you know, he's very like, I'm in my, you know, underwear kind of guy, like kind of like not very cool looking costume, but it kind of looks goofy. I think in the movies and in this game, they make him look actually cool. Like in this game, though, he looks more like he has like he's very teched out, if you get what I'm saying.
Shine. It is the opposite of Concord. Concord's a game that did have a few banging bits of concept
oh my god,
art,
that looks booby.
But my god, there are not even words to describe how badly that all translated into Sony Photoreal 3D.
It kind of looks like a shitty Destiny 2 mod.
But Marvel Rivals has another strength. It is not wholly original, and you may think that's me just absolutely launching it into an attack, but look, it is pretty similar to Overwatch, but that's not really the main point. One person who did try to make a point in this, though, was Mike Ybarra, our dearly departed Blizzard president, who is still out there hunting down some tasty high-growth opportunities. He launched a rather infamous tweet. I'm just going to read it out for you, and hey, you gotta get it here because he deleted the original. Quote, looks like Overwatch Marvel Rival ships tomorrow. I mean, even the character name, Widowmaker in Overwatch versus Black Widow and Marvel Rivals, lol. NetEase Tencent, all the same. Oh, Mike kind.
Well, Black Widow came before Widowmaker, so does that mean Overwatch copied Marvel? Oh, it's going to be a Nintendo situation. We're suing! Just kidding.
Kind of had a point buried through the stupidity, but the tweet absolutely is just him literally saying that Black Widow, a character introduced in the year 1964, was a Widowmaker knockoff, which is not true. You could maybe say his actual point, though, is the character kits. In a way, it makes the point he was trying to make, but it also shows...
I'm gonna be real, Widowmaker don't play like Black Widow and vice versa. Like, the only thing that's similar is the way the sniper works. Her kit isn't the same. I'm gonna be real with you, Widowmaker with Black Widow's sniper, like her sniper rifle, best character in the game, like would be, but it's not. Hawkeye is like way more oppressive though.
Why people are resonating with this game. Black Widow has got a rifle, it's got a scoped mode that does more damage, she
has a sniper, and she's hot. She's a Widowmaker.
grappling hook. So yeah, she will totally appeal to Widowmaker mains.
Okay, don't say she has a grappling hook. She can't grapple anywhere. She just grapples you to her, and it's like a 2 feet grapple, bro. Why are we lying?
To the kit. You've got a knockback kick, you've got a melee baton plus charged plasma round, and it does come together to actually play differently. Now, I get why Ybarra tweeted, but the gameplay here is different, especially with its close-range, third-person brawl element that's going on. And that's the point. Rivals does not just copy, generally speaking, it iterates. Now, there's always going to be genre crossover.
Not the booty focus.
Take a look at, say, Paladins from Hi-Rez, but Marvel Rivals is different. Like Overwatch, it's got the split between tank, DPS, and support, and many of the 33 launch heroes do have direct crossovers, some that are absolutely leaned into. I mean, Black Widow probably doesn't need to be a sniper, and yeah, she'll definitely be like that to appeal to the Widowmaker mains. And some of them are inherent, like Hawkeye and Hanzo, who are both bow users, or Symmetra and Doctor Strange, who both use portals. But the thing that matters is that Rivals gets
There's definitely
almost 70 years of inspiration and a wealth of real-world player experience.
Hawkeye's way more OP than freaking Hanzo,
and that means
though.
What we've got is a slick
like even
game
than season
that
1
is an
Hanzo
iteration
from
rather
Overwatch
than
1.
a clone. That is the point that Ybarra's absolutely dunked on tweet missed, and I think it's why this is a game that is actually surprising and delighting people. It has iterated and brought its formula forward, and in a way it's done that against traditional wisdom that would say that hero shooter is on the downtrend, that there's MCU fatigue, and that the track record with hero games is actually pretty damn bad. When we think hero game, we're all just going to think of PlayStation Spider-Man, but that's because we've forgotten the massive graveyard of dead games, and even the Marvel
just because they don't know how to make
which
a game.
Will of course have Square Enix's Avengers in it. That was very much the lol cow of its here. But even good games that have got, like, big, popular Marvel superheroes have failed to meet financial expectations. We've got 2 examples of this. One is Guardians of the Galaxy, and the other is Firaxis's Midnight Suns. And the thing is, those were both really good, well-reviewed games that just didn't sell. And then, of course, there's the now rather end-of-life Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Before that, there's Gotham Knights. So it's not been a good time. By comparison, though, Marvel Rivals has got half of the internet standing Jeff the Bloody Landshark, who I didn't even know existed, and it turns out has only existed since 2019. So this...
I'll be honest, I think a lot of those games actually failed because of advertisement, because Gotham Knights is actually a good game. Suicide Squad's not, obviously. And then I think Avengers, that one was good, like as the idea and the basis, but just the way it played was bad, and like it was very repetitive and kind of gave like, it was like a better version of Suicide Squad. Somehow Marvel is still beating DC in games and movies. I don't know how, but I don't know. Gotham Knights kind of gave me very similar vibes to the original Arkham series, but I don't know. I liked it. It was pretty fun. I didn't finish it though, but that's just because I'm bad at finishing single player games.
This is not a case of
even though you
put
can't
heroes
play
in it that people know and suddenly everyone will start playing. No, what they've done is they've nailed the basics.
It's May.
They have carefully chosen some deep pools, they've chosen things that everybody knows, and they've executed it all to an extremely high standard. The mechanical diversity of this game, especially considering that it's only just launched, is absolutely insane. And that's a large part of why people will play it over Overwatch. One team can have, let's see, a teleporting ninja fight, multiple flight-based characters, web swingers, and where the web swinging actually feels good. If you've got Rocket and Groot, then you actually get an entirely new ability and game-wide mechanic on top of your existing set. And to quote from the game's director, the awesomely named Thaddeus Sasser, well, he basically said this: I don't know about you, but when I heard the concept of the game, I was like, oh my god, I want to be Storm in a game. I want to be Doctor Strange in a game. I want these heroes in the game. That sounds awesome. And of course, my mind immediately leapt to all the cool possibilities you could have with that. And that seems like a very trite thing. I mean, of course he's going to say it. He's the director for the game. And it's absolutely not a fair one-to-one comparison, but do you know what appears in my head? Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, where the first reaction from most people when they watched that E3 trailer was, oh, this looks like a generic third-person shooter. Why are we just doing shoot-bang with guns? This doesn't really feel like Heroes. Which, obviously, broad market perception.
Yeah, well, see, that's the difference between Marvel Rivals. You actually get to live that fantasy of being that character. That's the huge difference. Because, like, when I go and play Marvel Rivals and I play Iron Man, I can actually play Iron Man. I can go in and beam people to death. I can explode people with my plasm, my plasm shots, whatever you want to call them. I can literally nuke people Like, you know what I mean? And if I go in Captain America, I can actually go in, I can throw my shield while punching the shit out of people. I can block the damage. I can reflect the damage like he does in the movies and in the comics. You know, I can, like, I feel like a super soldier. Like when you're running around, you can see your after image. Like that's sick. And obviously, like, there's like, you know, bigger ones like Loki, you can do all his stuff. Like, you know, Venom, you actually feel like a giant monster that is very hard to kill because of his shield and everything. Like, you just feel like you are living that character. And I think that's the big difference.
Consumers thought
Sorry, I'm trying
it was
not
not
ramble
enough
too
to
much.
get that game any cut through. Well, look, that's enough lavishing this game with praise. Let's get back to business, especially because there's a statistic that puts this whole thing in context. Matt Piscatella's got 2 decades of industry analysis experience. He's the executive director of Circana. They're a long-time analytics firm. They are not small. You actually may know one of the companies they just acquired. Nielsen, as in Nielsen of television ratings fame. So they're a big fish with massive corporate clients. Literally, their stock in trade is actually having good analytics. And what's great is Matt shares loads of games data in public. This chart shows the percentage of weekly actives by game title. And better than anything, this shows just how winner takes all this industry is. Because we can see that the top 5 games hold 75% of audiences, like just by player numbers. And if you're an indie, in a way, that's okay because you're fighting for the 25% of the audience, not the big 75%. You don't need that insane level of scale to be.
Well, people don't know how statistics work. Just because 75% of people are playing these big games, it's not like that's the only game they're playing. Like, for example, like, even when I, like I'm saying, like, I you know, I work a job, I work like 8 to 10 hours, maybe more a day. I still play like 2 games at a time. Like I play my one multiplayer game and then I play my one single player game. Obviously, since I do the YouTube stuff, I try to do like more. Like, I'm obviously pushing myself to play more games, but I'm just saying, even if I wasn't, like, I still did that. Like, even my sister who does works and does that, she still played one like indie single player game and then one multiplayer game, and that's it. So, like, I'm just saying, like, your average person isn't just gonna play Fortnite every day. You know what I mean? I don't know. I know there are people that do that, but I'm just saying.
Be successful. But if you are a major AAA live service, you need to make a dent in that 75%. You need to fight with those games that are taking so many people in an absolute winner-takes-all industry. And of course, it's failing to do that leads to the likes of, say, X-Defiant going under the way that it did. Concord immediately dying because there was no real universe where it was going to get itself to where it needed to be. And it's in that context that Rivals is actually impressive, because in a winner-takes-all industry, it has managed to get cut through.
Bro, did they just copy, like, never mind, doesn't matter.
And this is what their director had to say. It's pretty wise. There's a switching cost. I've already invested in Overwatch. I've got 15 skins for Pharah. I'm not going anywhere. I think the trick is you need to have that reason that people want to come and play your game. And I think Marvel Rivals does that exactly with the superhero. And that's basically the big point. Nailing fantasy and using the comics as an excuse to go extremely hard on designs and to make those designs fundamentally appealing. That has worked. Look, I'm not trying to be cruel to Concord on purpose, but just look at the skin variants. Look at what they look like. And now look at the things that you can buy within this game.
Bro, that's
so, Mr. Herman Hulst of PlayStation, if you're confused about why Concord, which you reportedly were really bullish about, if you're kind of confused why it didn't really work out, this is a really good example. But even with all that good, there are 2 things to discuss. Number 1, business model. It's coming under some critique, and for strange ways, because it does seem a little bit poorly thought out. But also that this game is actually walking a very similar path to Overwatch, and they are...
Well, the difference, too, is that, what do you call it, Marvel Rivals, all the characters actually look good. Like, sure, there are character designs that I prefer, and, like, some of them I'm like, oh, they look cooler with this skin. But I don't think there's a single Marvel Rivals character that I'm like, ew, you're ugly, I don't want to play you because you look bad. That happened in Overwatch. That's happened in, like, League and other games. Mainly League is more like, I think a lot of the character designs are good. It's just like some of them obviously weren't like updated, so then it was like, ugh, you know what I mean?
Are going to have to be careful and make sure that they do not step into all of the rakes that, of course, Blizzard stepped into, meaning that Blizzard hit themselves in the face. Monetization first, and I'd say that it's mixed, though fundamentally it does have something that Overwatch does not have in that it is a third-person game. Now, if you look at Counter-Strike, I mean, obviously, it's guns and knives because those are the most tangible and visible things. But with, say, League of Legends, which has now got hyper-expensive skins that can cost hundreds of dollars, that's third person. You can see your character. It's almost as if regularly seeing the thing that you're expected to buy kind of matters. Rivals then has got the standard suite. It's got a battle pass, it's got cosmetic bundles, but where things get a little bit dementia-inducing is, of course, currencies is one of those. So all those things I mentioned are purchased using units, and you can get units through battle pass progression, challenges, events, and something that NetEase knows very well indeed.
I think that any game, it's like anything, any game, any like website, anything, it should be illegal to transfer a whatever your country's currency into a in-game or fake currency, because it is so freaking annoying. That's why casinos do it, and that's why like all these paid games do it, like gachas do it. They have 8 different currencies. Now, I know a lot of multiplayer games, it's only like usually one other currency, but it still is annoying and sucks, including if you want to just spend $20, you have to end up spending 25, 30, 40, you know, whatever. I don't know. Like, I feel like you just get scammed that way. It's so annoying.
Promo codes. So you may not know this if you don't play them, but promo codes are a massive part of the gacha game world and culture. Basically, gacha game players are not stupid. They know that it is a crazy gambling hellscape, but the peace is kept because the gacha companies generally deliver a shitload of content, and they're often quite generous when it comes to things like promo codes, especially in major holidays and anniversaries. So their inclusion here is a smart leg up on the Western competition. It means if they just want to hit the engagement lever, they can do that. Now, what's odd then is the premium currency, which is called Lattice. It's $1 per 100, it's purchasable in discounted bundles, which all seems completely normal. But what's strange is it's used in only one way: converting all of your Lattice into units at a 1-to-1 ratio, which does feel really quite overcomplicated. Then, of course, like Fortnite, there is a currency that you use within the Battle Pass to unlock things. Now, I have noticed pricing is raising some eyebrows.
Yeah, I don't like the Battle Pass and Marvel Rivals.
Extremely expensive and
like
free.
The stuff in it is okay and all, but just the way it's designed, it's like a shittier version of Fortnite's.
Play games. You're basically looking at bundles costing $20 worth of units or $35 worth of units if it is an MCU thing. And of course, to explain the MCU thing, well, obviously, the mouse has got to get its cut. But there is one thing where I actually think we've seen good movement here. The Marvel Rivals Battle Passes do not expire, just like Halo Infinite and just like Helldivers 2. This is one of the things that I have been hammering on about for quite a while now in the industry.
Yeah,
I think that expiring Battle Passes, say in Overwatch 2 and so many other games, are basically tantamount to FOMO exploiting pseudo-theft. I mean, the idea that you could buy one of these things and then it'll just go kaput, and that...
Honestly, that's the reason that I don't play Fortnite as much as I actually would if that was the case, because I'll buy a battle pass, I'll get really busy with work, YouTube, and all the other stuff, and it's just like I'll never have time to actually like finish it. Like I'll get it 70%, and then I won't play it for like a month or like half a month or 10 days, whatever. And it's like I get back on and I only have 1 day left, and I'm just grinding trying to get that other 30% done, and it's like I'm not gonna get it done, and now I just like lost all that shit. That sucks.
They
it just feels bad.
Weaponize FOMO to sell you progression through the thing that you already bought. Because whenever you buy a battle pass, yeah, you might intend to finish out the thing, but life can get in the way. If that happens in this video game, you're still going to have your battle pass. You will not have been screwed. Blizzard will happily screw you in all of their games with the way that they do.
I know, bro hates Blizzard, bro.
So this is absolutely a good move, and I hope that a real major game that is doing numbers like this, implementing this type of battle pass, actually gets rewarded, because this is what needs to be the norm. So overall, it's mostly standard, a little bit of a mixed bag, but they have made a major piece of progress. The next thing to talk about then is The challenge of running a game like this, because already they are seeing cries and demands from players for the sorts of features that some people in Overwatch loved and others didn't. Launch Overwatch 1 was a blast. It was an often busted blast, and many of us experienced that with the classic event. Now, with top-down pressure to focus in the Overwatch League and an internal desire to actually make Overwatch 2 PvE instead, so that they could have a stepping stone to something that would approximate Project Titan, the failed MMO, it's safe to say that Overwatch struggled with direction just a little bit. That still is playing out today, where Overwatch has basically morphed into its PvP self, and if you had hopes for anything else, well man, that just sucks. Now, Rivals is a bit like launch Overwatch. Some shit is completely busted, and it's a bloody good time that's thrilling players, but it does mean they're seeing similar pressures. A lot of people want some form of role log. They will also want some form of role queue.
Yeah, I want a role queue
with this? And I say that because
so
we've typically seen live service shooters through a ranked progress first.
That's the only thing I want from Overwatch.
Focused
Nothing
lens.
else.
Something I see a lot of pushback to in comments of our videos. So navigating that is going to be a challenge here, especially because they have got such a broad audience. An audience that, in terms of its dynamics, I would say is far closer to the Overwatch 1 ginormous audience than the far smaller and I suppose more clearly competitive PvP-focused Overwatch 2 audience. Now, where Overwatch was torn between multiple directions, it's clear that things are going to be a little bit different here because this game is launching the way that it was intended. It's got 3-month seasons, multiple maps and heroes a season. That's the way that the thing is set up. They also get to have obvious marketing around films, major comic things, games, but right now, its real strength is a distinct lack of a calcified, ranked PvP-focused culture, which is what's set in Overwatch 2, where of course lots of people within that culture don't agree with each other on what direction the game should go in. And what that essentially means to me is that in terms of gameplay, this is the inheritor to Overwatch 1's crown. Now, from a world-building perspective, it is not an inheritor to Overwatch 1, and that is the thing that's tragic about Overwatch 1. So many people fell in love with the world, only to be profoundly let down, where the Overwatch world has basically just turned into an excuse to have branded crossover events. Yeah. We live in hell. But at least if you like that gameplay, you've now got a game that seems catered to you. And NetEase's challenge then is avoiding the mistakes of Blizzard.
Yeah, that was a really good video by Bellier News. Make sure to check it out in the link below. Leave a like on the video, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I really am curious what Marvel Rivals will do. Like, will they make a PvE mode? I didn't really care about that in Overwatch 2. I know a lot of people maybe know that the reason I stopped playing it was because they canceled it, but it wasn't because they canceled the PvE. It was because what it meant. Like, it meant basically, oh, we are going to make these empty promises and we don't really care about the game. This is just money for us. And I know that's a lot of Blizzard's games nowadays, but it's just like at the time when Overwatch 1 came out, that wasn't the case, or at least I was too young to know that was the case, and that was my favorite game. Like, Overwatch at one point was my favorite game. Now Marvel Rivals isn't my favorite game. That's because V Rising is, sorry, but you know, it would have been my favorite game if it was still back then. But I'm just curious how it's going to go. Are they going to keep going in this direction where they really focus on the PvP? I don't mind. I like the game the way it is. I'm just worried, are they going to balance it and make the characters not feel like how the characters should, like powerful and strong at doing their own thing? Because the more characters you add, obviously that becomes more problematic. But my solution is, if every character feels OP and every character is OP, no character is OP because everyone's OP. And so everything kind of bounces out because this guy counters this guy does this, and this counters this guy or whatever, you know what I mean? It's a thing that League doesn't really do anymore, and it's just makes the game feel bad, at least to me. I can't really live that power fantasy of playing that character, or, you know, whatever role they're supposed to do. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Peace.